Hey guys, introducing the Harder Than Life coaching program. If you're ready to transform your business, elevate your fitness, and deepen your personal relationships, including the one with yourself, our Harder Than Life coaching program might just be what you need. This is not a generic one-size-fits-all solution. It's a tailored coaching experience designed to help you achieve your unique goals. We're taking applications now. So if you're serious about making a change, DM me on Instagram at kellysiegel.71, the word coaching, to learn more and apply. Let's grow together, truly become harder than life. I'm Kelly Siegel, and this is Harder Than Life, a podcast about self-love, self-awareness, business, and health. We tell outrageous stories and boil everything down to simple, practical advice you can start using today. Let's get living. Welcome back, my loves. I've taken a little bit of a break. It's been like a month and a half since I've been behind the mic. I got our inspiring episode of Harder Than Life podcast. I'm your host, Kelly Siegel, and today we have a truly exceptional guest who is the beacon of health and wellness. Dr. Matt Chalmers is not just a renowned chiropractor, but a holistic health expert dedicated to transforming lives through natural and preventative care. With a deep passion for helping others achieve optimal health, Dr. Chalmers has become a trusted voice in the world of wellness, offering invaluable insights on nutrition, fitness, and overall well-being. His commitment to improving lives and promoting a healthier lifestyle is truly inspiring. We're thrilled to have him share his knowledge and wisdom with us today. Please join me in welcoming the incredible Matt Chalmers.
Hey, thanks, man.
My brother, we're going to talk all about you and me and all the myths and dispels. If you're not watching this on YouTube, head over and see this beautiful beast. He's going to tell us all of the tips and tricks. But first and foremost, I know your backstory, but can you share your journey and what inspired you to specialize in long-term wellness and holistic healing?
So for a long time, I was trying to figure out how things work and why it works. And so as I went through school, I ended up hurting my back and I couldn't walk. And so I went to see all the docs in the area and couldn't figure it out. Nobody could figure it out. So I called my coach. And I'm like, hey, man, I can't walk. I can't play. And he was like, why don't you go see our team chiropractor? And I was like, no, I need a doctor, not a massage. He was like, just go see him. He's a good guy. And I was like, fine. So my parents literally carried me in. He takes the same x-ray the MDs had for hours. He goes, click. Oh, it's right there. Got up, adjusted me. I got up, hobbled out, went back to practice 3 days later, and was like, okay, this is kind of what I want to do. I think this is going to be fun for me. And then it's just, ever since it's been, just because somebody told me I couldn't do it, that meant nothing to me. So I was like, well, I'm just going to go figure out how to do it. And so as I've gone through and researched everything, like all the information you want to know is out there. You just got to get it and read it. And so I've been able to figure out how to fix all sorts of stuff, and it's been fun.
Yeah, the results don't lie, man. Look how beefy you are. Why do chiropractors get such a bad rap? Because they're not medical doctors? What is it? You see it all over. Like you watch 2.5 Men and they make fun of Alan Harper all the time. He's like, oh, I'm a doctor. You're a chiropractor.
Well, it's one of those things that a lot of people don't. A lot of people look at if you don't prescribe drugs, that you're not the doctor. And I think it's hilarious because a lot of those things were prescribed wrong. Like I work with a lot of those guys on their stuff, and it's funny that, okay, that's your defining piece. All right, fine. Then I guess I'm not a doctor because I'm not gonna sling a whole bunch of drugs. I'm gonna fix the problem, but to each their own.
So you beat my doctor to the punch because we booked you before we booked my doctor. So I have a doctor that I work with, but I love having all different avenues. So we're going to talk all about how I get to look like I do because you look even better. But first and foremost, I want to make sure that everybody understands that you can go order all of his treatment plans on pillarsofwellness.com. And then all of the money goes to the charity treeoflife.health. So this is not just a, get rich quick scheme. This is not just I'm trying to make money. My man is giving back. So I love that. It's kind of exactly how the Harder Than Life podcast, Harder Than Life brand is all about. It's giving back. So pillarsofwellness.com, you can go book about anything that we're going to talk about today. So we're going to deep dive into exactly that. So how do you approach building the best quality of your life for your patients through these holistic methods?
So a lot of times what we'll do is we'll sit down and be like, what are your goals? Like, what do you want? Because not everybody wants to be as big as I am. Not everybody wants to be on stage. Some people just want different things. I want my energy to come up. I want, I just want to feel better. I don't want to feel sick all the time, whatever it is. So we go through and we establish where people are. And so we'll do things like echocardiograms and calcium CTs to make sure their heart's okay. We'll do Eastern medicine muscle testing to figure out where all their nutrient issues are or any of their parasitic issues are. We'll do high deal blood work so we know where all their hormone levels are. So we can go back and reset everything. So we can see, okay, your body has hormone deficiencies we have to fix. You've got nutrient deficiencies we have to fix. And your diet we have to put like this to get to where your goals want to go. And so we kind of just look at everything that's there. And then once we get that piece going, then we start working on the mental work. Because when we start talking about long-term health, you have to start really managing your stress. And that's really a big piece of mental work, is figuring out how do I change the way I view the world so I view it in a more positive manner and so that my stress is reduced. How do we work on our marriage so that it's a place of peace and relaxation instead of a stressful point? And as we start managing the stress, everything starts working together. And that's kind of how we look at everything. We take everything that your body has to have to be healthy and we start working on each piece.
So how in the heck do we manage stress? What's the number? Give me the top 3 methods to manage stress.
Okay, so the number one thing from research is exercise. So all of our stress hormones, all of the stress function get just destroyed when we exercise. And one of the things that happens is actually there's a neurologic function where all the information goes to your brain, fires up your frontal lobe, and then suppresses the part of your temporal lobe where all the anger and fear and hate and all that stuff is, called the amygdala. So exercise is the number one. The next thing is that I like to have my patients do is practice gratitudes. And so the reason we do gratitudes is because the way I make people do it is like, you only have to do 2, but you got to go deep into them. Don't just list them. Tell me why. 2 in the morning, 2 at night. That's it. But you can't reuse them for 2 days. Like you can't say my kids for 3 or 4 days. And so you're constantly thinking the things you're going to say and why you're going to say them for the morning and for the night. So what ends up happening is that now you're thinking of more positive things, the things you're loving, things you really enjoy. And so you start focusing on that more. And the things that you don't have and the things that are making you stressed out, you think of less. Because if you're spending the time thinking about something super positive, you're not spending that time thinking about something negative. So those 2 are some of the ones we always start with. And then the other thing that we do for stress is we make sure we get to sleep. Sleep is a really big issue. And so we make sure, okay, are you breathing while you're asleep? Can you fall asleep on time? Those are some of the ones that we've really got to, do you have a bedtime? That type of stuff. We've really got to focus on those things because from a neurologic standpoint, that's the place we got to start. And then once we do that, we can trickle off on all the other mental work.
Man, it's describing the Harder Than Life coaching program. This is what, everything for me, the foundation kicks off in fitness. 4:30 in the morning, I'm up, I'm saying gratitude. I'm on my way to the gym. I sleep. We've talked about it. My sleep is intermittent. I'm of an age now where I get up to go to the bathroom several times a night. But I want to, again, reiterate, pillarsofwellness.com. I just brought it up. I'm looking at it. You can order HRT blood work, men's HRT, women's HRT, fertility, HRT plus, different types of blood tests for inflammation, for thyroid, for DHEA. This is you've simplified this really well. What happens when they go and click on this? What happens after they order the blood test? Because this is my first time seeing this after looking at the show notes.
So after they order it through, it gets sent into LabCorp, and then you just go to LabCorp. The day after, you'll get an email that says everything's good. You just go to LabCorp the next day, get your blood drawn, and then when it comes in, you set up a time to talk to one of my team about what's going on. And so we can go through and be like, look, you've got. You're diabetic, because I get to tell people they're diabetic all the time because I'm the first person who's pulled their insulin ever. And then you have your testosterone's not where it needs to be. You've got, whatever else is going on. And then we start talking about, all the things that are in there. And then they can start kind of figuring out how they want to play that out. If they want to use this for hormones or whatever else, at least now they know. Because we've had a lot of athletes who I read their blood work and I'm like, dude, you're fine. I'm like, my doctor told me I was dying. I'm like, no. athletes have a higher ALT, ASC. We have a higher creatine level. Like this is how yours is supposed to look. This is how your machine operates. The stats on the V12 Ferrari engine are a little different than the stats on the V6 Corolla.
So guys, the Harder Than Life supporters, you listeners, all the men out there that listen to this, this is the kind of doctor that I go to. I get my blood drawn every 6 months. I'm going to more than likely try Dr. Chalmers out because there's some great stuff in here. The fact that he's got this streamline of doing it for how many years now?
We've been doing this for about 5-6 years, the way that we're doing it right now.
You got to think, I'm looking at this. There's hormone therapy. There's women's health. So I have a lot of women now listening. So if you want to think, what's the most, I know the answer to this, but what's the number one common myth about women fitness and women when it comes to hormone replacement?
So the number one thing is that they try to give women estrogen, which unless you're trying to get pregnant, don't do that. You need the testosterone. So testosterone is the healing hormone. Like it is the greatest thing. But here's the funny thing. My favorite thing to do is take couples have come in and give the women testosterone. And I see them a couple months later and they're like, our marriage is so much better. And I'm like, yeah, because she's enjoying sex again because her orgasms are great and she's having more energy and she's got more sex drive. You know, everything's better then. And so it's the number one myth that women need the testosterone and their levels need to be about 150 to 250, not this get them to 40 or 60 thing. The research is pretty clear on it.
I've read a lot about this. Women need testosterone. So ladies, a lot of you listen to this podcast. I love every one of you. You watch all my videos. Reach out to Dr. Chalmers. If you're not following him, it's, Dr. Chalmers 1 on all handles, all social media. If you reach out to him and say, and message him Harder Than HTL, he'll respond to you anyways. But if you say HTL, he'll respond to you faster. I promise. But what's the myth that you're seeing? You're seeing a big, for women specifically, I'm seeing a big push that, I don't want to work out heavy, lift heavy because I'm going to get big and bulky. There's been a big pushback on that lately where I've seen a lot of female physical coaches saying, lift heavy. You're not going to get bulky. There's so much more benefits from a woman's perspective. What do you say to that?
It's always funny because I'll have women say that. They're like, well, I don't want to take the test and keep working out because I'm going to get really bulky. And I just laugh. And I'm like, I guarantee you will never get bulky on accident. That will never, ever happen. You have to work so hard, so long, so specifically to get bulky. It's not going to wake up one day and go, oh no, I'm bulky. That's not how it happens. And you're not going to get bulky. What will happen is that you'll start leaning out. And what happens to a lot of women is they're like, I don't want shoulders like hers. Because I've got friends who are, pro fitness bikini. They're like, I don't want shoulders like hers. And they get like 6 months into it and they're like, yeah, I want shoulders like hers now. And you're like, why? It's like, because I understand how hard they are to get and I really appreciate them and I want them. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, that's the thing. Now that you want them, they're like, how do we get them? Like, I'm not getting bulky enough fast enough. Like, how do we? So it's always the funny thing. You're not going to get bulky and it's going to do nothing but amazing things for you.
It's that thoughts are magical lies. And usually that's just a limiting belief talking and that they don't want to do the work that it takes to get there. And then once they realize they start doing it and they see the success, this is everything in life. This is the why people make excuses. So I got a news flash for you. I'm going to tell you this much. I didn't get big and bulky for probably 15 years. And it took me eating like a freaking house to get that way. Because if you're working out heavy and you're doing cardio and you're not taking in enough calories, which is going to lead me up to my next question. So you have to calorie overload and lift heavy. And then 15 years later, I had some resemblance of mass. So it didn't happen overnight. And it was why I always laughed. They're like, oh, he just takes steroids. I wish you could just take a bunch of steroids and look like we do. Because I've been working out for 31 years. And I've already trained this morning, trained like a beast. I don't take any days off. So you have any comment to that? Because you're a fellow lifter as well. What do you say to people that say you just take steroids?
So you can watch my transformation, but I've been on tests for over 10 years working out. And I had to make a serious commitment to get to where I am now. Like if you look back where I was 6 months ago, if you watch my TED Talk, I am a lot bigger than I was and I'm a lot leaner. So what ended up happening was that this is the actual work I did. I fasted. I'll tell you the chemistry on it. I would eat once every 48 hours, and I did that for 6 months. And I lifted for an hour and a half every single day, 7 days a week, without fail. And I was meticulous with my supplementation and my nutrition. So yeah, it was 100% all sorts of power on, no alcohol, no nothing, very specific diet. Yeah, it works. It's so much harder to go from just feeling okay on test to actually being like, now I'm going to have a pristine, noticeable body. There's a lot of work in there.
And the funny thing about it is I tell everybody if they listen to the podcast that I take testosterone. I have for 10 years. I had to. When I turned 39, test levels dropped to like under 200. It was, and by that time I was already a big boy. This didn't, all it did was kind of level me back out and keep me from being tired. And now I just recently, since I last talked to you, I take a testosterone cream. It's working pretty good. I'm liking it. So I don't have to do anything outlandish. You just rub something on your privates and away you go. And it works pretty good. But we talked a little bit about something you texted me earlier, and I'm excited to ask you this question. You said, hey, I want to make sure to talk about the misnomer about calories in versus calories out being flawed, as well as aminos. So what is I literally, if I went into my things, I talk about abs being made in the gym, and people are like, oh no, it's a calorie deficit. And it's like, oh my goodness. So I'm excited to say, what are you wanting to share with the Harder Than Life crew?
So as a fat guy who's worked on this for so long until I got to this point now, is what we have to understand is that the reason that the calories in, calories out model is so flawed is because it tells you, because it says count the calories and the number will dictate fat gain, right? Calorie surplus, you get fat; calorie deficit, you lose weight. The problem with that is that the way they count it, sugar, insoluble fiber, and protein are all counted as 4. That means you're telling me that those 3 things work exactly the same way in the body. That is in no way that the case is true. So the problem is that I can explain the whole chemistry to you, but the carbohydrates are going to increase your insulin, which is going to make you store fat. The protein is going to make you release something called glucagon, which makes you burn fat. So insulin and carbohydrates store fat, proteins and glucagon burn fat. And so that's why, eat a high calorie meal, but make sure it's mostly protein. I'm like, no, it's either calories or it's macros. So you kind of have to break it down. So if you start looking at what goes on, this is why people who are really fat and they go to a keto diet and they still eat roughly the same amount of calories and they just fat falls off of them, because red meat activates glucagon production. Glucagon burns fat. So that's why that happens, because people are like, well, that can't happen. And then all these keto guys did it, and all these carnivore guys did it. And everyone looked at them and was like, well, calories in, calories out is still the way. No, chemistry is the way. If you'll eat more protein and you'll eat less carbohydrates, specifically glycemic function of the carbohydrates, it's a whole other story. But if you manage your insulin, you're not going to get fat. If you pull the insulin down and glucagon up, you will burn fat. So you can eat kind of however you want to. You can eat 6 times a day, or you can eat once every 2 days. It just depends on how you regulate that system.
So if I'm looking to lose weight or get in shape in any sort, is it diet or exercise?
So it's kind of both. So if you want to build the musculature and you want to look good, you're going to have to exercise, because the only way to build muscle is to convince the body that it's not good enough the way it is today. So if you go and you lift weight and then you go up in weight and it's always hard and always a struggle, your body goes, crap, I'm not where I need to be. I've got to become better. I have to become stronger. I have to become bigger muscles or whatever it is, more lean, like more range of motion. Now, how much fat you have stored in your body depends on what you put in your mouth. And so if you have a ton of protein, eggs and fish and actually red meat and stuff like that, your body, again, hormonally burns fat for your fuel source.
Huh. What's your workout splits look like?
Oh, so I do legs on Monday and I do chest on Tuesday, Wednesday's back, Thursday's shoulders, Friday's arms. And the reason I set them up that way is because I want to get legs out of the way. But then once you do chest, you've also done triceps, right? Because I'm doing flies and press. So I've already done triceps. Back's going to hit, and then shoulders, I hit triceps again. Then Friday, I polish off the arms and do, back, and I do bis and tris. So I hit my arms every single day. That's why I set it up that way.
Interesting. So how is the splits for I guess we got to talk about this Ozempic stuff. What's your take on Ozempic? And I had a guy on that said it depends on what your goal is. So what's your take on it?
So my issue with it is that we gave metabolic tools to medical doctors who don't understand metabolism, and they're hurting people. Semaglutide is glucagon. When you increase glucagon, your body uses proteins to make sugar out of. If you don't give it protein, it will tear apart your muscle tissues to get the amino acids to make the sugar out of. So what happens is that when you raise glucagon, you also inhibit hunger. And so what's happening is people are taking these big shots, big doses of this stuff, having zero hunger, not eating, and their body's like, I got to feed the brain and the blood. So it tears apart the muscle tissue to make sugar for the brain and the blood. So if you diet properly, if you supplement properly, there's all sorts of ways you can do this where you can actually use semaglutide, build muscle tissue, and lose all the fat. So there's a way to regulate it. It's just the docs don't understand metabolic function, so they don't do it right. So yeah, it's very dangerous if you don't know what you're doing, but it works really well if you know. Because we've been using it for a while with our actors and actresses.
My thing is that there's just no get rich. There's no elevator to success. Anything that's going to give you instant fix is usually going to have long-term effects. It could be anything. It could be steroids. It could be get rich quick scheme. I mean, it just isn't what God wanted. He wants you to struggle and become this harder than life human that can handle the freaking workload of what comes with this added new thing that you're doing. So I am big on just do the freaking work and work on. You talked about stress and reducing stress. I talk about mindfulness and becoming mindful and becoming the person in your mind of who you want to be, then attracting and doing the work and doing massive action. And it's just the way it's stated. If I didn't work out for the next year, I'd still look like this. Because it was put on the right way. And I wish that the testosterone was giving me some big advantage. It's just leveling me out. So, and I train harder than life.
Well, so the thing we should understand about testosterone is that all it does is it pushes the point of diminishing returns out. So the reason we need testosterone is because if you work out and break your body down 4 units, it has to be able to rebuild 5. If you work out hard enough, you'll need to replace this piece. You can't recover. You have to have more testosterone to cover the workout you're doing. So typically, if you're working out really hard, you're going to push yourself backwards if you don't have enough testosterone. So a lot of people are cheating themselves in the gym because they're not using the hormones God gave us to function. That's where our body's supposed to work. This isn't something we're adding in as a drug. You're supposed to have testosterone. If you don't have enough, that's not how your body was designed to function. We need to stop looking at it as a drug.
Does the body need rest? Meaning, do you need to put in a rest day? Because I get a lot of slack that I don't take days off. Like, that's so stupid. I just feel better mentally when I'm in the gym. So I go 7 days a week. I take God-given days off. Like if I'm traveling and I just have to really, really work to get to the gym, I take those. And it's few and far between because I go first thing in the morning. So unless I have a 6 a.m. flight, which I take a lot, I usually am at the gym. So does the body need rest? Or is that just their limiting beliefs coming out at me?
So the thing is, the body does need rest, but the amount of time the body needs to rest is that's where the question comes in. So if you're getting high quality sleep and your test is up and your nutrients are up and you're growing, like all your hormones are where they're supposed to be, your nutrient levels are where they're supposed to be, and you're getting deep restful sleep, lots of times you don't need necessarily a rest day. I don't take rest days, but again, all my stuff is geared around growth. And so, I'm fine. And so my guess is that, you're probably in the same position with your nutrition and everything else is so dialed in, you don't need a rest day.
Oh man, I got to tell you, I got a chocolate cake sitting on my freaking table right now. I for some reason, every once in a while, I got to have chocolate. And I went on a long binge where I've been training and working out hard. I'm like, I'm getting a chocolate cake. And I'm taking that thing down tonight. So, yeah. So can you elaborate on your work with professional athletes and how it influences your approach for wellness to all clients? Because I know you're big in working with a lot of major athletes.
So there's a couple of different things that we do. So like after somebody leaves the NFL and they've had, I've never treated an NFL player who hasn't had a concussion. But so they've had the head trauma, they've had that stuff. So we'll go through and be like, look, on your exit from the NFL, this is one of the things we do. Let's make sure that your genetics are where they're supposed to be, because your APOE score is bad and you've had concussions. We're going to have some issues that we have to start dealing with. And so let's deal with them now and prevent damage from the future. And so we'll do stuff like that. We always check heart. We always check blood valves, like that type of stuff. Blood work. We'll do the same nutritional profile that we do. It's just that we do some things a little bit deeper. And we'll go a little bit further into, rehabilitation that we know has to be there. A lot of those guys also have trauma somewhere in their life. And so we'll have to go back through and break their PTSD and stuff like that with psychedelics as we go through. But that's typically how we'll kind of package it all up before we let them, go into maintenance.
So since you're talking about athletes, do you prescribe or subscribe, or what's your position on these peptides, especially the BPC 157?
So I love the peptides. I use a ton of them. We use them for ulcerative colitis. We use them for just torn ligaments and stuff like that. We use them for all the neuro stuff, like the MS that we do, dementia that we do. So they're great. The problem is that you have to have testosterone as your base, because testosterone is the healing hormone. If you want something to heal, you can't take the parts to heal and not take the hormone that tells the body to do it. So you get a baseline of testosterone, and the BP 157 and TB 500. I like both of those for ligaments and stuff, but really for gut and for brain. And the amount of people who have torn up guts and brain is really high. So we'll also use SS71, which heals and repairs mitochondrial DNA. And so the mitochondria get healthier, and so we can produce ATP better. And so it decreases free radicals, and that's what causes all sorts of cancers, and it causes heart attacks.
Is this, when they order the blood test through your pillarsofwellness.com, will you then prescribe peptides if the situation calls for it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. If we talk to you guys and you're like, hey, these are my goals and this is what I need, this is what I want, we can get you all the peptides as well. We use a lot of growth hormone stuff as well. The growth hormone's been really, really fun. We've been able to use that. We work with pediatricians, and we'll get guys who are like substantially smaller than they need to be or should be for their age, and we'll be able to raise that growth hormone up naturally. And so we still have what's called somatostatin to kind of block, make sure we don't get too much. And so these kids that are smaller stature can actually grow up a little bit and get the benefits of the hormones they should have had.
So I didn't know this, but in doing show prep, I realized that you wrote a book, Pillars of Wellness. So what inspired you to write your best-selling book, Pillars of Wellness, and what key messages do you hope readers take away from it? And I apologize, I didn't know, or else I would have read it and quizzed you emphatically on it. So we'll have you on another time, but tell us about it and why you wrote it.
So I wrote it because of the pandemic. I don't sit well. And they were like, you can't go to work. And I was like, oh, F you. No, I'm going straight to work. This is 100%. And they're like, no. And so what happened, I came up here and nobody else showed up. So I was like, I had to do something. So I wrote a book. And that was kind of the way I put it out, because I wanted everybody to understand what was going on. And I also was super pissed because when it took me 4 months to figure out how to fix COVID. And when I put all the information online, it crushed my social media. So, yeah.
But you're in Dallas, right? Outskirts of Dallas?
Yeah.
Now, I can't remember. Texas wasn't shut down very long, was it?
No, so we never shut down, but they told it, like, everyone was like, there was a big question of who was going to not be able to work. I was an essential worker, so they didn't push too hard. We were actually shut down for like 2 weeks. It was a really soft shutdown. No cops were out doing stuff very much. There was some cop action. It wasn't that bad. But the problem was that after they were like, okay, you can go back to work, no one showed up. Like everyone was too scared to come into the office. So I did a lot of phone work, but I didn't do anything with people. And so
I wrote my book during the pandemic too. I can't sit still. But tell us what's the key takeaway that you want people to learn from it? And where can they get it?
So Amazon, you can get it on Amazon. But I talk a lot about testosterone in it, but it's a lot of the stuff of how the body's supposed to move. So you've got, my pillars are biomechanical, which is you've got to move, like how your body moves properly, get it moving, how it works in the brain, the biochemical piece, which is testosterone, nutrition, supplementation. And then we talk about psychology, we talk about some of this stress piece, and the spirituality. And the way that I look at it is psychology and philosophy is how you think. The spirituality is how you apply what you think to the betterment of mankind and yourself. So that's kind of the way that those pillars are set up. And, there's a lot of stuff in there that it's been irritating me for a long time, like the women's health thing and the testosterone. I used to have women come in all the time for bone density, and they'd buy calcium and D3. And when a 60-year-old woman buys calcium and D3, you know why. But I was like, hey, ma'am, what you getting there? And she's like, oh, my osteoporosis. And I'm like, okay, you got to get testosterone. You can buy that. It's not going to help you. You got to use the testosterone. And after everybody, getting that message out, it's just been kind of part of what I'm trying to do. So there's lots of stuff like that.
I love this. I love it. This is good stuff. So, but you don't tell people to talk smack to other people actually doing the work. I just love it because you ever want to just entertain, just go look at the comments. We talked a little bit about BP 157, but I want to dig in this a little deeper. These next couple of questions are going to be very, very pointed for a different audience type. So what strategies do you use to help patients manage and overcome chronic pain and injuries? Because that's a big thing now, chronic pain.
So actually my TED Talk was over replacing opioids with cannabis. And so we talk about cannabis as far as a pain relief. So that's one of the big ones. But a lot of times we talk about fibromyalgia type stuff. Fibromyalgia is a liver issue. If we clean the liver enough and we restore the nutrient levels that your liver needs and get it, because once the liver cleans out, it cleans the blood and the lymph. The blood and the lymph then go clean the tissues. The reason why everybody hurts all over, and if you've never had fibromyalgia, which most people haven't, imagine the first day, like you haven't worked out for 6 months and you just get a killer crush workout. The way you feel the next day where everything hurts to move and it hurts to sit down, similar to fibromyalgia. But what happens is that if you can clean the liver, it'll clean that stuff out of the body really, really well. And so that's one of the things we do for chronic pain is we're like, okay, are we detoxing fast enough? If we're not, we got to increase the detox that we're doing. Nandrolone and Decanate for guys is fantastic for pain. So if you guys have joint pain, like I take a little bit of Deca just for my joints. Because my joints don't hurt at all. Like if you feel like when you get on Deca, all of a sudden it's like, oh man, my joints feel lubricated and they don't hurt anymore. They don't feel dry. They feel great. But Deca was kind of cool because Deca was designed, but to not convert to DHT and not convert to estrogen. So it's one of the safest anabolics that you can take that's not testosterone recipient. So it's a great one. The problem we get into with it is that women cannot take it. It will deepen your voice, make you sound a little smoky and gravelly. Unless that's your goal, but it's probably not. So DECA is a great one as well.
You stole my next question, was about fibromyalgia, but also is the same true for celiac disease?
So celiac, what we'll do for that? So celiac is a reaction to glyphosate. So we have to pull you completely off gluten, not because gluten's bad. Like a lot of my celiac patients go to Europe, eat bread all the time because we're one of the only countries in the world that still allows glyphosate to be sprayed on our wheat because it's highly toxic. If you just look up glyphosate, there's like billion-dollar settlements from Monsanto. Like it's a bad thing. We've known it for a long, long time. So that's what causes celiac. So what we'll do is we'll pull all the wheat out, and so that we can stop poisoning ourselves. Usually there's a parasitic infection and a yeast overgrowth. We'll reset those two, and then we just rebuild the gut. So it's probiotic, it's collagen, it's massive methylated B vitamins. Sometimes we use the BP157 TB500. We use growth hormone as well. And we just kind of put it back together. And then obviously we start tweaking diet a little bit to make it stay longer.
All right, what I'm going to say right now is going to be very as soon as you go to gluten, I just want to strangle people. I'm gluten-free. What the heck? Is this really something, or are they allergic to that poison that you were just talking about?
Oh, so there's probably 3 to 5%. Like you can be allergic to anything. So there's probably 3 to 5% of the population who seriously are gluten intolerant. And I feel so bad for you because I talk to people like, oh, I can't have gluten. And they're like, but I'm going to Europe. And I'm like, eat all the bread. They're like, really? I'm like, yes. And they call me back. They're like, I ate all the bread I could find and I lost 5 pounds. What happened? Like, because you're not allergic to the gluten. You're allergic to the poison glyphosate. So like I have people who won't eat gluten here because it's so toxic. They have bread, they have flour shipped in from Italy. and they use that flour and they can eat the pizzas and the bread because it doesn't have glyphosate on it. So
do you eat any bread at all from here?
From here, no. Well, so I'll eat the, so, okay, yeah. So I will eat the keto stuff, but I won't eat the stuff that has glyphosate on it.
What kind of bread doesn't have it? Because that's why I love sandwiches. I need a good sandwich here and there, but I know that I feel like crap after. Is there a specific type of bread that I can order?
So there's a couple that you can get. So Royo, ROYO. They make great bagels and stuff like that, and they count for keto, so they're great all the way across the board. Sola bread is here. I don't think that one's made with gluten because it's keto. But sourdough, if you get I guarantee you know someone who's making sourdough. So if you can get sourdough, like a lot of times you can get it gluten free because people are making it all over the place. They just love to make sourdough bread. If you can get the clean stuff, a lot of that doesn't have glyphosate on it, and it's very low glycemic. So it's super healthy for you.
So you heard it here: exercise, gratitude, sleep, ladies, testosterone, little BPC 157, and sourdough bread. That's Dr. Chalmers' thing. It was a point I was going to make about, you know what I just learned this weekend? I was in my Florida house, and we ordered it on Instacart because I was landing late, and I didn't know that they made protein bagels. Did you know this?
Yeah.
Freaking blew my mind. I was like, protein bagels. Oh my, dude, our technology today is phenomenal. There really is no excuse to be heavy. Because I'm going to tell you, if you're unhealthily heavy, then I say go, and I'm not a doctor, but I say go take your Ozempic. Do it the right way. Do it with exercise. Get yourself back into shape, and then eat right and exercise and express gratitude, and you won't get heavy again. It is in your mind. This is so simple, and my heart goes out to people that struggle with this. It does, and I am empathetic and compassionate. But man, it's just someone who I feel better every time I leave the gym. I went to the gym the other day. I felt terrible. Like I was stressed to the max. My stomach was upset, and I forced myself to go to the gym. You know what? When I walked out of there, I went, woo, I feel good. And I trained like a madman because I was so stressed out. So this next question, Matt, sorry, let me give you the respect you deserve. Dr. Chalmers is, can you share your thoughts on the use of ketamine psychedelics in treating PTSD, addiction, depression, especially with your beloved first responders and veterans? I'm so sorry I waited so long to ask this question because I love this topic.
So, so it's funny because after I did my TED Talk, my business partner was giving me grief. And he was like, hey, man, you figure out how to do the pain. He's like, you can just figure out how to fix addiction. He's like, you got this opioid problem solved. And I was like, ha, 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 ha. So I went and figured out how to fix addiction. I didn't figure it out. I just read it because we've known since the 60s. Psychedelics will break addiction a lot of the times. Not every time, not for every person, but for the vast majority of people. They also will cure PTSD, depression, and things like that. 85% of the time, significant changes in PTSD, depression, and addiction. 85% of the time. If it was just 50% of the time, we should be doing it left, right, and center all day long. But the problem is that if you fix a problem, you can't then charge for the pill for every single day. So, it makes more money to sell SSRIs every day than just fix people. And so that's what we do. The same thing with diabetes takes 3 days to fix. Get on a keto diet, 90% of you guys are not going to have diabetes anymore. That's literally how the biochemistry works.
Did they legalize ketamine and several mushrooms and whatnot in Texas for PTSD?
So ketamine's legal in Texas, and so I did ketamine. I have a great story about that one. But you can get ketamine pretty much anywhere. The IV therapy stuff. Now a lot of these are just doc in the box type of things. So you go in and you do it, but make sure you get what's called the setting, the intention done right, because that's the biggest piece. And so we have counselors that I help pair people up with to do that. Then you can do your ketamine wherever. But psilocybin is technically legal everywhere in the United States because it is used by 2 recognized religions. And so if you say you can't have it, that's a violation of the First Amendment. So yeah, it's technically legal everywhere. And people are using it. We're starting to get some stuff out of California. The guys who were doing all the cannabis moved over and started doing mushrooms as well. So now what they've done is they've taken this, like, you don't know if you take a mushroom how strong it's going to be. And they've kind of narrowed that down so you can get a lot better dosing. And so if you're doing daily dosing or if you're doing mega dosing for the bigger trips, we can do that now. And it is so unbelievably beneficial to the PTSD. I've talked to so many veterans and so many first responders who are just like, I'm a different person now. And like, if you go to the treeoflife.health, there's an interview, a podcast I did with one of the guys that we worked with about his journey. So that one's pretty fun too. As we get these guys through the charity, that's what we're going to be doing more podcasts with.
Yeah, I specifically went to the psilocybin because it's more of a plant medicine and it isn't as scary to some people as ketamine. So guys, this plant medicine stuff is legit. I will tell you, that's what I did. And I would argue that I had some PTSD from my childhood. I was never safe as a child. I thought my parents were going to kill me. So I did some plant medicine. I have taken mushrooms. I'm going to tell you right now, the chocolate mushrooms it was in back to back. I was a pilot. I owned a plane and we hit a downdraft. And if you've ever been on a plane and hit a downdraft, you don't ever, it's like the plane just drops out of the air and you are literally thinking you're crashing. It very rarely happens. It happened to me twice in the same week. And I all of a sudden developed a fear of flying, which is crazy because I was a pilot and I still have to fly everywhere because I'm giving speeches all over the country. I have businesses all over the place. I have customers. I got to go see. I just would grin and bear it. My buddy gives me a little piece of the chocolate psilocybin and says, just have the intention that you're going to have a safe, smooth flight. And we were all grounded because there was weather. We were all flying to Florida and there was weather in Florida and they were waiting for it to clear. So I go, dude, I'm going to take this and get on an airplane and lose my mind. He's like, I'm telling you, you'll be fine. Since that day, I got on that plane. It was bouncing everywhere. I'm dancing through the aisles, having a blast. Didn't care. I have zero fear of flying now after that one little piece of chocolate. So I am a plant medicine, like, not guru, but I believe in it. And then I took I did a couple journeys to work on the childhood trauma. I am just an avid believer that those, what are our founding fathers, not founding fathers, the long ago Indians knew something we didn't know. They didn't have doctors' drugs. This is what they prescribed. And that shit works.
Have you done ayahuasca yet?
No, but last week's podcast was this Loaira Institute in Colombia. He was offering specials for people to come there. I don't go to freaking Colombia for ayahuasca. That's not what Colombia is known for. It's known for something else. But he was offering these discounts and he says, Kelly, I'm telling you, people that come to us and the people that go to Rhythmia, first of all, it's 1/3 the price and you get treated better. So it used to call me, but then I took these lesser known stuff and all of a sudden I'm pretty freaking healed, man. That's why the podcast is growing because I just throw it out there. And, I got to tell you, I'm sure there's still some things to heal. I'm constantly going. I'm always a work in progress, but it doesn't sound like something I feel like doing right now. And I'll be honest with you. I have dear friends that we get together to do these journeys. And I said, the last two, I said, guys, I'm going to sit it out. Things are going really well in my life. And I was the block. I was the common denominator. And now I just get the hell out of my own way, allow God, the universe, energy to freaking go and just divorce marry the process and divorce the outcome. Shit just happens. It's wild how simple life is. So
yeah. I don't want to try to sell you too hard on the ayahuasca, but I did the DMT through, we did it medically through an injection. And I'll tell you, man, that is a life-changing, it's not a fixing thing. It's I now see my purpose in life and where I'm supposed to go.
Yeah.
It is a world-changing thing.
Now you're making me think about it. I'm going to go down to this, check it out for this guy. He was great, man. Sam Believe, give him a follow. Good dude. He talks about how they take care of everything, and it's wild. And it's affordable. I think it was like $700 for 3 days or a week. It's 1/3 of the price of Rhythmia, and it's right in Columbia. So it's in Columbia. It's fun place. I've been there. All right, we're getting up against it. We're going to get some personal questions in here because I'm freaking just loving this. Your conversation. It's so funny. I've listened to all these questions that we just talked about all. Just you and I going back and forth. So what advice do you have for those looking to improve their mental resilience and push back against daily stressors? It's kind of how we started, but let's end the deep questions on that. Just what advices do you have for people looking to just get mentally tougher and just chill out, and I've heard you say, and I already know, you don't drink. You don't smoke weed, do you?
Oh yeah, I use a lot of cannabis.
I use a lot of cannabis.
I use a lot of cannabis for the psychedelic function.
You don't drink any alcohol.
No.
So your day, if you've had a day, what do you do? And what do you recommend to your patients?
So the thing that if we're looking for something as a quick, calm you down, breathing techniques are great. Like deep breathing will really, really help, because what happens is, again, this is neurology. The more that your internal organs move, the more information goes to your brain, and it's that brain cycle again. It just calms you down. So deep breathing is fantastic. You also should do that just to breathe and get the oxygen in and out and make sure those things work properly every once in a while. The amount of people who can't deep breathe, I'm like, really? Have you tried? So deep breathing is a big one. I do like cannabis because the research I did for my TED Talk shows suppression of the amygdala function, which is fear, hate, anger, and terror, but it also has a psychedelic piece. So you can get introspective on yourself. And I'm a big fan of getting in my head and being like, because I've always imagined that if I have a problem, the first thing I should do is figure out how much that problem is my fault and then fix my piece first, because I have 100% control over me. And so the thing is that if 40% of that problem was my fault and I can fix 40% of that problem, why don't I do that first? And so I'm real introspective on how can I be a better dad? How can I do this better? So I'm always thinking about that stuff. And that helps. But the biggest thing I tell people is if you want long-term success, you pick a hard project, do something hard. Like that's why I wrote the book. That's why I did the TED Talk. That's why I'm doing the bodybuilding. It's pick a hard goal and work at it every day and put little monitors throughout. Like, I want to be here. I want to be here. These are the things I want to see. That hitting those goals that you're working hard for is the best way to just wake up in the morning and be like, I'm successful. I'm doing great things. And it destroys your depression. So and your stress. And that's the place I would do it. That's how I tell people to do it.
You're a remarkable man. I got to remind everybody to follow you. And Dr. Chalmers, the number one. Dr. Chalmers, the number one on all social medias. It's the only thing I differ from you on is I everything you said, I agree. The only thing is I don't take a single crutch. I won't take cannabis, and I don't know why. It's probably something in me that just, it feels to me like a weakness, like it's not harder than life. And I'm not judging you. I'm telling for me, this is me. I would love to just, let me pop a gummy or I sit, and everything you said, I do everything else that you do. Breathe, journal, work out. And then more often than not, just sit in my shit and know that it's me and it passes, and just sitting in it. And that builds a muscle in you to know that you're going to bat 1,000 and you're going to get through it. And I find it works faster than anything else. But I do agree with you. I do remember back in the days of cannabis years and years ago where, you could explore your mind, but I can pretty much do that on my own right now. I mean, as soon as I get up with you, I haven't meditated yet today. I will slow things down, meditate, and then I get a good cigar. That's my vice. I get a cigar, and I just freaking say my gratitude, and that's my victory cigar for the day. So I'm not knocking it. I'm an avid advocate of cannabis over alcohol. Alcohol, we all know, is the antithesis of what you want. It has the reverse effect. Than of relaxing. Initially, it'll relax you, and then it'll stress you the hell out.
Well, it's funny because like the day I decided, because I usually, dose is a thing for me. So I usually use the sublingual strips just to get kind of where I need to be. So I'm not like high, but every once in a while I will with friends. And I remember the last time I decided I was done drinking is I was like, I'm going to leave at midnight. And midnight comes around and I stood to leave. And I was like, no, I'm not in a position I feel safe driving. So I sat back down for an hour until I could leave. And I was like, I would never have done that on alcohol. I would never have gotten drunk and been like, no, I shouldn't drive. And I was like, this is the thing. This is safer for me. This is better for me chemically. I was like, I don't have any tie to alcohol at all. I'm like, I'm done. I was like, I want the body. I'm done. And so that was the day I decided to quit, was when I realized that I have control over my faculties using cannabis, but I don't over alcohol. And I was like, that's the thing I can't handle anymore. I can't try to do something to relax that takes away my ability to control myself. So that was the last day for me.
Yeah, I read something somewhere that it's in the higher, like 88, 89% of all domestic violence includes alcohol. It's because of alcohol. It's like, that's insane to me. It's like crazy we do it. All right, we're going to switch to some lighter stuff. We got about 10 minutes. I'm going to flip through some fun stuff because I think you're a fascinating human being. Again, guys, pillarsofwellness.com. He also is is your website drchalmers.com? It's just chalmerswellness.com to find out more. If you DM him, again, just say, I saw you on the Harder Life podcast. He will respond. But man, I love what you're doing. I'm going to hit you up for some stuff. I'm honestly have been so freaking busy building this brand. I'd forgotten I had you in my back pocket. So I do have your cell phone. I'm going to reach back out to you and ask you more questions. We didn't really talk about fatigue, but we talk about every damn thing else. So tell me this, what's the most unusual wellness tip you've ever given or received?
It's weird. All the weird stuff I do, I don't like. People are like, that's weird. The thing we do all the time that is probably the weirdest thing that we do are coffee enemas. Like, I am a giant coffee enema fan because nothing cleans the liver like a coffee enema. Like, the only thing I know where you get the fastest, the best, and the cheapest is with coffee enemas. And so, like, I'm a giant coffee enema fan. So that's probably the weirdest one we do.
How do you do it?
So you can take whatever oils and stuff you want to. So, like, I open supplements. We just make coffee. So you have like a bucket of coffee. You take the tube in the rectum, hold it up. You'll take, 20 ounces or so, whatever a third of the bucket is. And you go lay down and relax and just go. I watch stuff and think and stuff like that for 20 minutes. What happens is that your colon, the way your colon works is a tube with a billion little holes. And it's designed to suck all the fluid out of your fecal matter, your poop, so you don't dehydrate and die whenever you have bowel movements. And so it sucks it through the colon, through the hepatoportal system, back to the liver. And that's how it works. So if you put something in the colon, it'll suck it all the way through the colon to the liver, and that's how you clean your liver. This is also why colon cancer goes to the liver so fast. So we just use that same system, and it cleans the liver.
Yeah, it's funny. I just have a dear friend that's battling cancer, and she was doing these coffee enemas, and she swears by them. So, and I shouldn't say battling. She beat it. She beats ass. So congratulations to her. And that's part of her daily, and a lot of what we just talked about, meditation, plant medicine. I mean, she did all holistic, and her doctors freaked out. And she said, no offense, I have no faith that chemo is going to work. So she did everything holistic and beat its ass. So this shit works. Reach out to Dr. Chalmers. I'm telling you, it's legit. By the way, we never asked any caffeine questions. Caffeine, good or bad?
It really depends on the person. Most people, caffeine's fine. Caffeine does a lot of beneficial things. I take caffeine every day before I work out. It helps blood vessel function. It helps with alertness. Caffeine actually doesn't make you less tired. It just shuts off the hormone telling your body that you are tired. That's the only downside, because if you mask a problem for long enough, it's going to hurt you. So if you wake up in the morning and you're exhausted and you drink your coffee, you're like, okay, I can function now. You're not sleeping right. You've got other issues we got to deal with. So if you have to have coffee to function, you're messed up. So it's not the coffee problem. It's that you're nutritionally deficient, you're hormonally deficient, you're sleep deprived, you're oxygen deprived, you might have sleep apnea. There's a problem. Don't just think that, I got 6 hours of sleep, but I need coffee every day. Something's wrong with you. That's the problem. We blame it on coffee.
You'll catch me with water and either a coffee or an energy drink all the time. And I don't even need that's become like an alcohol beverage to me. It just tastes good to me. And when I need them, I should probably just put something, electrolytes in my water, and I'd be just as happy. It's insane how the brain makes frickin' things true to us.
A good clean coffee will actually increase, there's research showing that it increases glucagon function. So as far as people like coffee and weight loss, it's really a thing. So
what's good clean coffee? What do you mean? What kind of good clean coffee?
Well, so, you always want to, if you're going to consume something, you want it to be organic, no scents, no flavors, no dyes, none of that type of stuff. There's mold on some coffee. There's reports of mold on a bunch of coffee. So, I like some of the Black Rifle stuff. I like those commercials. I like those guys, and their coffee tests well. So I use that. But and then I drink, my family, my second son, my wife's side of the family is all Arab. So we do a lot of Arab coffee as well. But those are the two I do.
Hold on. An Arab in Texas?
Yeah.
We have to take that offline. All right. A couple more questions. If you could have dinner with any health or wellness guru, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
The person so he's not necessarily a health guru, but it would be Joe Rogan. I would love to sit down with Joe and talk to him about the heat he got for ivermectin. I'd love to talk to him about the heat he gets for talking about eating meat and stuff like that. Like, because he's got to get he's been the brunt, the tip of our spear. He's been super out there. He's been the only guy that they couldn't shut him up. They can shut me up when I told people how to fix COVID, but they couldn't shut him up. And he whacked out on a giant limb. So I'd love to talk to him about it.
He did a podcast with Dr. Who's the major, very not Fauci, but who's the big time? My brains are not working, but it was fantastic. And he talks all about the ivermectin, and it's one of who's the big doctor all over the country.
So he's talked to a couple of different guys, but one of the guys he talked to last. Well,
this was a while ago, and they went toe to toe. Would be nemesis. What is it's somebody we know? It's Doctor. He gives all the talks. Anyways.
Oh, is it the guy? It's the guy from CNN. It was Dr. Gupta.
Yes. And he goes toe to toe with them, and it wasn't even smoking. The guy goes, Joe, you were so honest, and you were more prepared and researched than me. But thank you for giving me an honest effort. And he goes, honestly, you made compelling arguments. So I got to go back and do more research. And it was about the ivermectin. What was the doctor's name? It's
So I think it was the guy from CNN. I can't remember who he was.
Sanjay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But the thing is that the problem with the ivermectin deal was, guys, this is a big deal. Ivermectin won the Nobel Prize a couple of years ago for internal medicine, and now you're saying it's trash. We have research from people with thousands of patients saying it helped, and you're not even willing to talk about it. This is absurd.
He broke it down like that. It was so good. Such a good listen. Listen, we're getting up against it, but I love that. I love how you think of it. Mine would be The Rock. I would want to train with The Rock. I watch his post. I'm like, man, this guy freaking gets after it.
Yeah, that would be good.
What's your guilty pleasure when it comes to food, even as a wellness expert?
So I eat lots of desserts. I eat lots of chocolates. I eat lots of stuff like that because, again, it's the chemistry, not the calorie. It's the chemistry that's in it. So just change the chemistry. You can have your cake. I had cheesecake. I had key lime pie. I had a bunch of chocolates last night. You can have it. You just have to account for the chemistry.
One of my favorite songs, I Only Came for the Cake. Everybody laughs at me because I will walk in. I land in Florida and I go meet my friends out and they're all drinking and we'll be at a place and I'll order a chocolate cake. And I don't drink. So they're drinking their calories. I eat. And they laugh. They're like, who's the most healthiest guy eating a chocolate cake? I just eat it. So have you ever tried a wellness trend that completely backfired? And if so, what happened?
Oh yeah. So for the longest time, I did the HCG thing. I did not do well on that one. I did the whole high carbohydrate, low fat thing for a while and got super fat. That was a really fun time of my life because this is why it pisses me off so much when people they put out such bad information like the Pure Protein guys put out that whey protein turns to fat. It doesn't. It turns to sugar, yes, but in the turning to sugar, it makes you burn fat. So putting that out there pisses me off because I'm like, I was the fat guy who was looking up to you, Gary, who now I think whey protein makes you fat because you said that. And so it's going to confuse me for years. So that pissed me off. But I've done lots of that type of stuff. Like I've done the whole, eat your carbs because they're super important. That's how you make your energy. Like I tried to carb up for stuff and I just got fat. So that was probably the biggest one.
Mine is that actually doesn't fail. I do abs almost every day, and that's how I keep my six pack. But that's like, it's still so hard. You feel like you're overtraining them, but it's just something I do.
They're stabilization muscles. You can train them a lot harder. So I train abs every day. I do core every day. I do the same ab work every single day, every 7 days a week. Yeah.
What's your favorite body part on you?
I really like my arms. I'm going to tell you that it will be my obliques whenever I get the fat off. I'll just tell you that now. But right now, it's my arms, my delts.
Yeah, you're just fabulous. All right, last question. No, second to last question. If you had to choose one superpower to help you in your practice, what would it be and why?
I would like to be able to see into people's minds because they have this idea in their head and they can't express it. So if I could, like Elon Musk talk about like neurolinking, if I could like neurolink and be like, oh, that's what you want? Cool, we got that. Because like if I have to wait for you to explain to me, it could take you 3 weeks of you trying to talk to me because it's hard to like explain what you really feel and think. So if I could just get in there and be like, oh, this is what you want? Gotcha. That would be a lot easier for me. That would be my superpower.
Just learn how to communicate. People just need to say what they want. So is there anything I haven't asked you that you feel compelled to share?
No, man, I think we covered a lot of stuff. I think we're pretty solid.
Brother, you go to pillarsofwellness.com, guys. This guy's the real deal. I enjoyed every minute of this, man. I thank you. You're doing great things. And anything I can do to help you, you got it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for playing along. And thanks for being you, man. Please rate and share this podcast. I'm active on all social platforms and love to hear from my Siegel supporters. Each and every episode is sponsored by my company, National Technology Management, the easiest and best IT company to do business with, delivering peace of mind with technology every day, even simplifying cybersecurity. Visit trustntm.com for more info. Until next week, be harder than life.